Alrighty then. Here we go. The end floor. Madagar, what's up, what's up? Aramio, what's up, what's up? That's another dude. That's another dude. That's something. We'll keep doing that. Game vibes, yeah. I gotta fight against the rhino again. Might be stuck here longer than I thought. I'd have to press the block button. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. A little loud. Pretty cool. Alright, you healing yourself. Just a sec. Don't do that. Okay. What are you weak against? Not that. very bad. Keep this guy run around. What's this guy weak against? Nothing. I can stay here. See me rolling. Okay, last enemy. Oof. Suppose you got your dialogue interrupted. Suppose you reach the top. When did I add Warhammer 40k Mechanicus 2 to my list? Have I played the first game? I have played the first game. I don't remember when I added that. It might not, but it might say... No, it does not. I have no idea. But it wasn't any time recent. Easy fight, easy. I am struggling. Let me just double check. We seek the ultimate experience, and everything changed when we met you. Once an empty vessel, a caged bird, now back again, whole and free, filled with boundless resourcefulness, born out of hope. You are the one, the player we desired, and thus, the ultimate experience shall begin. A lot of health bars, man. What was that? Oh, it changed. I think it changed again. Fire? Maybe I gotta use the one that's empty. I'm gonna die. I haven't even gone through his first health bar, by the way. Think it's that. really not much else latch onto, though. Sucks. Sure, maybe I should just try fighting him with the other element. I don't know, that doesn't appear to... I guess maybe I can just be paying more attention. But I thought I was onto something earlier. That occurring. Okay. Gonna run out of platform? I'm gonna run out of health way before I run out of platform. Like right there, missing 2 elements. That's not really doing what I want it to. I hate that one. That one never hits. Oh, wait. Aha, I see it now. It's not the orb that he's missing, it's the orb that is surrounding him, like that color. Gosh, it took me forever to notice. a sneeze that I have to deal with as well. Look how much damage that does. Sucks. What did I say? How did I not break it? What? Okay. You chill out. Suckers. Oh, I didn't swap. Oh, third one. Let's go, friends. I do not like that at all. The ice attack is so difficult to do because it shoots out the stuff. This guy has so much HP, man. So much HP. I think maybe I need to change my build. Sucks. I need, well, really nothing I can change. I don't know what I'm doing. Bye. Starting with ice is interesting. What do I do against that? What do I do against that? Deserve that. I didn't deserve that though. Ruin my day. Crap. I didn't know what element he was in. Oh, okay, well, life is hard. A little snack. Okay. Oh, maybe I just have to wait for this. Oh, I did have the yellow throne. Defeat the designer. High sky we shall rise. Please have this be a checkpoint. Years of creation. Years of searching for the ultimate experience. It has brought us together to this place. So it shall all be concluded with one final duel. Tell me. How do I fight you? Ice stuff gets on my dang nerves. And I'm sucks. What? What was that? What was that? What the sucker fool was that? sneeze. Time has come to rise further beyond. A ridiculous HP buff. I want to play that game again, Gotham. Attack the orc. Pay attention to so many things. Alright, at least I start here. How do I do damage to that? More than that. Thank you. Going over there. Very helpful. That is incorrect. orb. I'll sit here and take the losses. Look here. Absolutely destroyed. The sucker fool. How am I supposed to hit the sucker if I'm dodging all the sucker fool sucker stuff? What is this? I'm all the way dodging stuff. Just realized I'm at like 5 HP. Got hit by that. It's not doing very much damage. Well, maybe it was because I was fire element. Saw Diablo 3 numbers in the chat. That's funny. Alright, yeah, I gotta just attack his weakness. Oh. I'm gonna get you. No, I'm not. The lightning ones are going to be even more annoying, though. Wonderful. Alright, well. I'm gonna die. Yo, what am I supposed to do with this? You know, come on! Help my brother out, man. I'm getting hit by all of that. Or something. I'm gonna die to that. What did I say, 45 minutes yesterday? might have to take a break in between attempts, man. I struggle with that so much. I got HP for braking. There's a better way to dodge those. Like, not enough HP back, that's for sure. Gonna die. There was a fourth one? What's the point? Get off me, bro. Makes me regret not improving my what's it called? My melee attacks. Yeah, these guys are the problem. I just don't know how to deal with them yet. The timing for that is really... You still shoot out those things? Okay. Just ultimate disrespect. This one's crazy. Unfortunately, it's lightning. Those ones are a little bit nicer. Oh, wonderful. Oh, wonderful. Very concerned about what this will be. Oh my gosh, they follow you too. very final bossy? This seems very final bossy. Stay in a combo street for 20 minutes. I guess I was on that fight for 20 minutes. Did those still end up as Diablo numbers, Dante? And thus the experience is over. Our desire has been fulfilled. Our purpose has been served. Gotham, what are you doing here? Foreign substance detected. Are you insane? Not on the instant matter construction. Stop this. Congratulations. You beat the challenge, and I gave you my word. Use the teleporter over there. It will bring you right to the server. Sergey, he is with you now. I'm glad. Awesome. From this day on, it will all disappear. Vermilion Wasteland, the designer, my creations, my work, all gone. But I'm glad. After causing all this misery for so long, finally it is over. Leah, I have a bad feeling about this. Wait, please tell everyone that I'm sorry. No, do not say that. Leah, you have to stop him somehow. Wait. Should have threw her into the teleporter. It's time for me to log out. Gotham, no! This is it. You reached the server. Nothing I can do here. Fixing the issues following the crash is beyond me, and access to the environment server remains blocked, despite what just happened. Why? Gotham. Very unfortunate. Why? This is on you, Sidwell. I didn't expect this to happen either. Why? Because of this business. Because it went on for too long. That's why it happened. That is what you believe anyway. Of course, this was not intended. Yet it was you who pushed him into it. To be frank, I'm almost surprised this venture went on for as long as it did. Let's be honest, this whole interrogation program wasn't exactly a stable business model. Yet all things considered, it was a success. What do you mean it wasn't a stable business model? You get random people to play video games, and then you create copies of them, and then you torture the copies of them to get information to sell to advertisers. That feels like infinite money. As long as you get people to play the game, but, you know, it's fine. It's fine. Yet all things considered, it was a success. How? How, you wonder? Well, how could I possibly consider all of this a success? Maybe I just wanted to keep a highly advanced AI technology away from the public. Delaying the inevitable impact it would have on today's society. Wait. Of course not. It was just very profitable, really. Confidential information can sell incredibly well if you know the right people. Joking now, are we? Well, in the end, the power of empathy foiled my plans. Everybody fighting for the well-being of Eviltars. And now that the secret is out, and so many players know about it, there is no way for me to continue. Yeah, but who's gonna believe this? There's no way anybody's gonna believe this. Honestly, there wasn't even any point in waiting for you to storm this place. By the time you managed to escape the Eviltar ground, I knew I wouldn't be able to run this business for much longer. Yet it felt wrong to end things right away. I was curious. I wanted to know how you'd attempt to reach the server. so I decided to wait. A decision I now regret after what happened to Gotham today. I'm sorry. Anyway, this business is over. Time to move on. Okay, bye. You remember, don't you? The time we spent together in that room in Vermilion Wasteland. Those days were strange indeed. Part of me hoped that things could have stayed that way, that you'd remain oblivious to the truth. And then there is the other part that is glad that you escaped, that you traveled the whole playground, saw other places. Certainly was nice watching you out there. Farewell, Leah. What the heck? Even just like this. You took 3 people, their talents, their dreams, and pushed them into your criminal schemes, bars. How dare you even call this a business? How dare you just walk away like this? I will say that's bars too. Darn it. Leah, it is time. Let us secure the data, Leah. Hi. Leah, you're back. Spheromancer Leah, have you returned victoriously? Did it work? Yes, we did it. We recovered backups for all Evotars I found on the server. Satoshi, Lucas, they're all safe. Meanwhile, it looks like Sidwell gave up on his business. He logged out and disappeared. And what about Gotham? What happened? I'm sorry, Gotham. He committed suicide within the dungeon compound. What? Happened so quickly, and there was nothing we could do to stop him. Shizuka, I'm sorry. No, that idiot. Now of all times, why would he do this now? Day after day, playing a stupid god figure, preparing those interrogations. Just thought he didn't care anymore. It was one thing I never considered, that it was him who took on the heavy burden, handling the worst parts of Sidwell's business. He must have lost control a long time ago. This was it. Our long journey was about to end. So, Sergey, yes? Now that you've gathered the Evotars, what's next? Well, I have to get in touch with Instatainment and explain the whole situation. And hopefully, we will be able to create a proper future for Evotars that way. But what will happen with Leah now? I'm afraid I cannot afford to keep her in the game for much longer. Not allowed to do that in the first place. And I really should not break company rules while I try to discuss the matter with them. But there is no need to log her out right away, none. We can at least play together for a little longer, I suppose there's no reason to rush things now. What are we waiting for, then? Off to the playground. I'll begin when I set out to find my long-lost colleagues, my old friends. Back to where our journey started. By now, those enemies are kind of a joke. Sure, now they are. I bet you got beat up plenty by those hedge hags in the beginning. Not at all. Those hedge hags were easy peasy, right, Leah? Leah. Right, I forgot you were well prepared thanks to my amazing tutorial. Sure. Back then, she was the only clue I had. That is why I put her into the game. Cold, cold Bergen Trail, the first mountain for every seeker to conquer. And it's filled with cute little frog bunnies. Still feel bad about beating them up, so many of them, I gotta sneeze. Now, Yorn. These little bunnies might seem cute, but they can cause quite a lot of havoc as well. You are being surrounded. Have you heard of the Great Frobbit Plague? Ow. That is some history I do not want to hear, thank you. You are being surrounded. I only wanted her to remember what happened. Tell me where I could find them. Finally, our party reached the blooming oasis to the east. A maroon tree, in all its majestic glory, was but within a stone's throw. Leah. Wait. Indeed, the soothing breeze and calm waters were inviting for a little break. Alas, there was no time to waste. We had to continue on our journey. Why? And so we kept playing, traveling the playground, hoping for memories to return. Back in the jungle, those gatos better get closer. By the way, Leah, one thing I was wondering about, back when you explored the jungle together with Grasshead, how often did you lose sight of him? What do you mean? Just look at your hair. It blends perfectly with the grass and plants of this place. This is nonsense. We? Oh, how often, Leah? You've got to be kidding me. I lied to her to keep her going, protecting her from the truth. Yet over time, I noticed this growing feeling of guilt. Sapphire Ridge. Man, good times. Played this part together with Lucas. The trial of patience was the best. We did the challenge in parallel, and I just kept miscounting on purpose. Lucas failed it like 3 times. That's funny. Well, he finally did it on his 4th attempt. Because he kept pushing me into the pond whenever the bamboo tipped. Ouch. Eventually, I misunderstood what was going on. She was more than a means to an end. I finally realized that I found a new friend. Bars. Too bad that Ivan didn't have the chance to meet you. Why? Well, let's just say he is well connected with Instatainment. I'm sure he would have been excited about Evotars. Unfortunately, he just left for a business trip. No chance to meet him anytime soon. How did you do that? Oh, never mind, those aren't the same ones. Oh, were you just talking about Ivan? No. Come on, I want to meet him already. Forget it. I bet he's amazing at barbecues. Go away. And then, before I knew it, it was already time to say goodbye. Oh my, what a lovely hideout. Yep, certainly beats our small headquarters. Well, we had the connections after all. So the time has come. I'm not sure what else there is to say other than thank you very much for everything. Could not have done it without your help. Really, don't mention it. We served justice where justice was due. Sergey, Leah will be back, right? Please promise me she will return. I unfortunately cannot give you that promise. I can only promise that I will try my very hardest to make that happen. Leah, I'm gonna miss you so much. Bye. You have to return someday. It has to happen. Bye, Sherry. Bye. Bye. Goodbye, Leah. Finally, I can witness that infamous hug. Whoa. Bye. See you around, Leah. Bye. Goodbye, dear. Goodbye. And let us hope we will meet again. Spheromancer Leah. Leah. Alright. Farewell, Leah. Bye. Now please unhand me. Goodbye, small one. No, wait, this is awkward. Bye. Goodbye, Leah. Seriously, just how touchy can you even get? Bye. This is my cue. Good night and sweet dreams, Leah. You hear like a little laugh at the end there? Now it is up to me to make sure we can meet again. Alrighty. Here it is. Krititsu. Alrighty. CrossCode has been conquered. Woot. This was a viewer requested game by Heels, so thank you very much for the recommendation, Heels. My first impressions of the game, which were based off of day 1 and 2, there is a nice amount of personality to the game and its writing. Even the silent protagonist contributes in some form or fashion, and that's nice to see. And combat seems like it could be leaning away from what I enjoy, but time will tell. And for my overall thoughts, I have a weird scenario with this game. It's one of those scenarios of, I think this game is absolutely fantastic, and like it just does so many cool things, and like it just explores a lot of cool things. Like there's a lot of coolness to this game. However, the other side is that I really struggle playing this game. This game is like the epitome of why I don't play games on harder difficulties. And it's because the difficulty levels can be all over the place, and there's some things that I excel at, and there's some things that I really fail at, and I really struggled with just like managing that, because like the combat was difficult for me, the boss fights were difficult for me, the puzzles were difficult for me. You know, like I can see why the completion percentage for this game is so low, because the bar is so high to complete the challenges as intended. And I believe there's something to like decrease that challenge. I managed to beat it by myself, so I didn't need any help. But you know, I kind of wonder what those do. Like, does it just automatically solve the puzzle? Does it I don't know, like slow down the game so that you can just cheat or something? You know, I'm very curious about that. But yeah, this is definitely one of those games where it's like I recognize the awesomeness of the game and how this game could be a really powerful game for a lot of people, but the difficulty for my own personal experience was just way too high for me to have as much fun as I would have wished I could have had. I much rather have no challenge at all and just steamroll everything than to struggle as much as I did. And unfortunately, I just struggled a little too much. But yeah. For the story, was it satisfying? I will say it was. There was a nice little story going on in this game, and that little ending sequence was really nice. There's still some unanswered questions, of course. You know, are we gonna get confirmation of who Citron was? Was he did well all along? You know, who knows? Probably the way things were going, probably not. But you know, when you remove the Tron from the end, that can only mean that that something is afoot. How was the pacing? Wasn't too much of a fan of the pacing of this game. And that's primarily because there are two dynamics to it. There's the I'm playing a video game with my friends, and then there's the unraveling of a mystery surrounding evotars and CrossCode and all this other stuff. And the problem is playing the game with the friends isn't really the story, and there's really like there is a story there, but there isn't a story there. Meanwhile, the actual story of the evotar stuff, that just it comes out a little like it's just not it's not interspersed, I guess, throughout the game enough. It's very like, here's a specific moment that we're going to have the story play out, and on either side of those moments we're playing the game as normal, and there's not really as many developments or significant developments or meaningful developments. So that definitely made the pacing not so great. Thoughts on the story? I think I'm locked in that I don't like Leah being a silent protagonist. They've done a great job adding a lot of personality to her with words, expressions, and actions, but it's just not enough for me. She could be so much more expressive if she could actually speak. It also sucks to have people speak for her. Yeah. I'm not a fan of silent protagonists, and this has probably been the most expressive silent protagonist I've ever experienced. And I found that extremely refreshing because Leah definitely contributes to this game a great deal. And it's super, super nice to come across a silent protagonist that actually has a contribution and, actually helps move the story forward. But the problem, it's not enough. He had a point. Clips really do not make any sense. A few months later. I'll go through this after my thoughts, but I'm on to you, Citron. I knew it. Who are you, Citron? Are you that one guy? So yeah, that's kind of my main issue with it is it was just not enough. And I think I have another point here. It's also not great because there aren't many, if any, moments where her being able to speak, or her not being able to speak, would actually mean something narratively speaking. She doesn't have her memories, nor does she have any meaningful knowledge of what's happening. So yeah, just removing the game design. We don't want to write our main character and the story around our character having a voice. Removing that external factor. Leah can't even really contribute to the main narrative. Like, if you were to just give her lines and have her be a person that can speak, she's not actually going to be saying that much more, and she's not going to be conveying much more information. The grand narrative is still very much going to be a mystery. So it felt very, you're gonna have to pardon the word usage here, but artificial for her to just be a silent protagonist. Um, so yeah, I I really like how they approached it, but unfortunately, it's not good enough for me to be like, okay, I'm down with this silent protagonist style. That being said, if we could do away with completely silent protagonists and have silent protagonists that are like this, it is a step in the right direction. It's not enough. The Vermilion Wasteland was an interesting plot development, although not as impactful as maybe it was supposed to be. It definitely didn't make much sense for Leah to be in a coma, so the idea that she's an Evotar makes sense. Unfortunately, the revelation of this information from Shizuka felt awkward. Yeah, so the Evotar area was when we first get our relevant plot information, and that was a very powerful area in the game, and uh, it's really just unfortunate that Shizuka is the person to deliver the information because it doesn't really feel natural, and it doesn't um, it doesn't help the flow of the game to have her be the messenger for that information, because like what does that actually do for us? um it I don't know, it would have been much better if, I don't know, Sergey maybe delivered that information or something like that, but he was trying to hold things out. I don't know. Obviously there's the whole dynamic of Shizuka doesn't like Leah, and so she's trying to hurt her and things like that. And um, maybe if we got more scenes with Shizuka, things would be a little bit better. Maybe if we had scenes where like she snuck into Leah's room and just like said mean things to her in her flashbacks and stuff like that. Um, Maybe it would feel a little bit more impactful, but it just didn't feel very natural. And story progression is moving pretty slow. Two major dungeons in, and there has been little to no development. The Vermilion Wasteland moved things forward, but then we just resume low story updates again by going back into dungeons. Yeah, so uh, I kind of touched on this already, but the story progression just didn't really go in a way that felt like it was building up to something throughout the entire game. It just felt like there were two sections of the game, and there was the MMO part and there was the Evotar part, and there wasn't as much of a natural integration with those two parts to kind of help it build up to this final climax, which was super crazy. For gameplay mechanics and design, what gameplay elements stand out? Uh, Not a fan of the merchant system in this game. It encourages fighting and acquiring materials, but the prices are also super high. I question how much upgrades can be kept up with if every piece is upgraded at each town. Yeah, so presumably if you do every side quest and you're grinding and things like that, you can I would imagine that you could upgrade all of your equipment for a couple of towns. Granted, I haven't, I've been skipping a ton of side quests, but the money rewards that I was getting for those side quests seemed very low. Um, at the end there, I had um, equipment that was costing like 100,000 plus money, and I had 300,000 money, and I haven't spent money in quite some time. Getting money from enemies is not very much, so the grind to get equipment seems very very high. So I'm definitely curious how that's supposed to work out. Um, I wish I could go into the game right now, but there's some other things that I don't have written down that I found very interesting. I like the skill tree. I admittedly am not a super big fan of the buffs being um, isolated to those trees. So, like for example, in the fire tree, I had an extra life basically, where if I took critical damage, then I wouldn't die, and I only get like one of those. But if I'm in the lightning tree, I don't have access to that. I have to be in the fire tree when I take that critical damage to get that ability. And um, I definitely wish that like all the bonuses were shared across all the like elements. That being said, it's potentially less interesting to do it that way. So I'm not like dead set on this feeling, but I guess I just feel like it would be neat to just have all the bonuses. I don't know. Maybe there's a new game plus mode where you have your avatar mode, uh, and you can use everything all at once. The avatar state. Um. Oh, and then I also really like that in the environments there's like these little destructibles, whether they're plants or rocks or whatever, and they give you like these little items, and then there's this like glossary compendium thing where you can see uh like your percentage of analyzing those destructibles, and it shows you like what they drop and things like that, and how many of them there are, and like it super nice. I really like that system. I also like that there's a bestiary in the game, and it will tell you what those enemies drop, assuming that you've analyzed them enough or got the item to drop. I'm not exactly sure what the trigger there is. Um, but there's also a system where if you're in the items, you can actually see where those items dropped. It's not very specific, but it's a nice little added detail to kind of help farm things. Never did get that third dropped mic, I don't think. Hmm. So there's just a lot of super cool things. That being said, I'm not the biggest fan of how information is displayed in like the status screen with like all the bonuses and stuff like that. Um, kind of wish that was displayed differently. It's a perfectly acceptable implementation of it. Um, uh, so maybe I'm just kind of nitpicking there. But anyways, for combat, I'm in this really awkward spot where I can acknowledge the combat to be fun and interesting, but I think I lean more on not enjoying it. There's a lot of information to pay attention to, and I have a hard time keeping track with everything. Guarding also just doesn't feel rewarding to me. So yeah, for the most part, I'm a gameplay first kind of person. So if I like the gameplay, I'm most likely going to like the game. There are, some exceptions to that. But one of my larger problems with this game, which I've kind of already touched on, is that it's just so difficult. And it may not necessarily be a difficult game because the of like the tuning of the game itself. It might actually just be because uh I'm terrible at these types of games. So that's just kind of how it has to be, I guess. You know, an unfortunate aspect to things of I'm not very good at these games where you have to pay attention to so many things that are happening on screen, and you also have to uh, do actions, sometimes precision actions, at the same time. And on top of that, you need to manage what your elements are. And at the same time, you have to keep an eye on your hit points and your SP. And there's just a lot going on. And even in some of the more complex puzzles, it was like that as well, where it's like I I have to shoot, this thing really fast, and then I have to switch elements and then go over here, and I definitely struggle with that level of detail. So like it's very easy for me to say that this game has a fantastic combat system and fantastic gameplay elements. But I I just suck. I'm terrible at games. Um, dungeons. There's definitely some dungeons in this game where I'm like, I do not like this dungeon. I can't think of them right now. But yeah. Anyways, for cardinal sins, silent protagonist. We got one of those. Miscellaneous and sound. For music, there was quite a few tracks in this game where I'm like, hey, I think I like this music. So definitely going to get around to listening to the soundtrack for this game, and who knows, maybe making a few beats or something like that. For graphics, I think the visual style of this game is fantastic. Pixel art is immaculate. The enemy designs, the enemy attacks, um, just like I guess I didn't even mention this either. I just talked about how difficult it is, but the puzzles in this game are so well designed, and it just like for most things it feels like they thought of everything. And it's kind of cool to encounter a situation like that. Um, but yeah, like the visual style is really nice. I think the main critique that I would have is there are some scenarios where you have to interact with something that is not in your current visibility, and I wish they would tighten those up so that you can actually see what you're trying to affect, and um plan accordingly. For other, it's not a sequel as far as I know. I didn't play this. Anyways, is the game worth recommending? Uh, I would recommend this game to people, but I would also say that there is quite a bit of challenge to this game. Um, and it will take a very specific person as well, because you have to you have to be an action game kind of person here, where you're doing quick actions, you're dodging really fast and whatnot, but you also have to be a puzzle person. And I'm just going to say, you got to be pretty good at puzzles to be progressing this game. So that kind of hurts the recommendation pool quite a bit, and I struggle to to find a whole lot of people um, that would latch onto that. I mean, what do we have here? 14.8% of people defeated the creator. And what did we start off with? Chapter 1 was 71.3. So, like, I can definitely see people going into this game and being like, oh man, uh, I like this action combat, and then they start getting into these really difficult puzzles, and it's just like, how do I overcome this puzzle? I have no idea what to do. And there were a few puzzles where like I just had to really lock it down of like, okay, I've tried this, it's not working. Let's create a list and go down the list. And sometimes that's a struggle to engage in. If the developer is watching, um, this is one of those scenarios where I don't really have any like super meaningful feedback because I wouldn't say I'm not the target audience for this. I would say that um, my feedback is not necessarily helpful in uh, like getting people to like this game. I guess is maybe how I would put it. Um, I think people out there want more difficult games and they want less difficult games. So the puzzles and the combat are provide a very unique experience for this game, and reducing that is not necessarily helpful feedback or anything like that. So it's only a couple of things that I've said that I could recommend. Um, I I think the main thing that I would just push for is I don't want a silent protagonist, but I'll go ahead and set that aside. Um, the main thing that I'm really pushing for is story. Uh, just have the story um, um, more interspersed throughout the game, and I think I would be okay with that, or at least a nice a nice step in the right direction. But yeah, that is my thoughts on CrossCode. Let's see what else we have here. One second. I'm here. Did he call already? Not yet, dear. We're still waiting. He should contact us any minute now. Hello, everyone. Good day, Sergey. It has been some time. How have you been? Bonjour. Let's cut to the chase. What about Leah? We tried our best, but we could not convince them. I'm sorry. Evil tars are officially banned. What does this mean? Not allowed to let Leah back into the game. Nor was I allowed to keep any data of the Evotars. Oh, so sorry. Hmm. Reached a dead end. Maybe the key to the future lies in the past. Return to the past. You can return back to the beginning of Chapter 10 shortly after you met Satoshi. Your actions in the past might impact your future. You will keep your level, items, and quest progress. Also have the option to skip the final raid and dungeon. Path to the future is locked away. Okay. Unlock it, sucker. Beginning of Chapter 10. Morning, Leah. A bad dream? I hear that. You want to talk about it? Yeah. Hello, Leah. Hi. We just keep running into each other recently, don't we? This is very convenient. I wanted to speak with you. Just had a quick talk with Lynn. Gonna take a break from the game. Personal stuff. Oh, we're in an MMO. Alright. Create a new save. Ah, okay. Interesting. Alright, well, I think we'll call it quits there for today. Thanks for watching, appreciate it. I will be back tomorrow, 7 a.m. Pacific time, to play something. What that will be, the world may never know. So with that, see ya the next time I see ya. Peace. Alright. Guy just bouncing around. Relax, my man. My goodness. I mean, you gotta wait for this cat to do all this. This is why you get no attention, Meow Wow. No? Just trying to waste everybody's time. Can I just, like, disable your happiness?